The notice hit me like a slap. $250,000 in HOA back fees for a ranch my family had owned since 1953. I laughed, thinking it was a joke until I saw the notarized stamp and the smug face of the guy in a golf cart who'd shoved it into my mailbox. He wore a tiny badge like he was some kind of federal agent. I crumpled the paper, ready to toss it when my eyes caught something that stopped me. That gated clubhouse, a gleaming tennis court, a kid's playground, all sprawled across my land. My jaw dropped. "Hold on," I muttered, tracing the metal fence that cut through what used to be our cattle grazing strip. This wasn't a mistake. The HOA had built their fancy community park on my property and had the nerve to bill me for it. My name's Ethan Miller, and this is the story of how I took on a homeowners association that thought they could steal my family's legacy. It started 6 months earlier when I came back to Jasper County, Texas, after my dad passed. The Miller Ranch was 200 acres of grassland, weathered barns, and memories land my grandfather cleared with his own hands. I've been working at a tech firm in Portland and only planned to tidy up the place, maybe lease it out, then head back. Dad never mentioned much about the area changing, just grumbled once about a fancy community popping up nearby. I didn't think twice about it. Driving in that first week, though, things felt off. The dirt road was paved. A gaudy Oak Grove Estate sign stood where our old postbox used to be and past the tree lane where we'd camped as kids. A playground gleamed with colorful slides and manicured grass. Strangers biked past my driveway, kids on scooters, dog walkers, none of whom I recognized. By day 3, a notice was slapped on my barn. HOA violation failure to meet landscaping standards. Landscaping standards. This was a working ranch, not a suburb. I drove to the HOA's prefab office behind their shiny new tennis courts, where a gum-chewing receptionist handed me a packet of community guidelines. When I said I wasn't part of Oak Grove, she shrugged. "The map says you are." A chill ran down my spine. That night, I dug through every document I could find. Eats County surveys, old maps. By 2 a.m., staring at Google Earth, I saw it. The HOA's map was a lie. They'd shifted the boundary line 217 feet north, swallowing my land to build their clubhouse, courts, and solar-lit paths. Every inch was mine. A county surveyor confirmed it, tapping a stake into the ground. "This fence is way off. The HO is in deep trouble." I thought that was it. Case closed. But the HOA wasn't backing down. The next morning, a bulldozer roared into my driveway. A guy in a yellow vest claiming they were clearing for uniform fencing on HOA orders. I yelled, "You're trespassing." He hesitated, radio crackling. As more trucks rolled in with gravel and fencing, furious, I stormed into the HOA office, demanding to see Karen, the red-faced woman in a pink polo who'd threatened me with a $250,000 fine. I slapped the county survey on the counter. "You built on my land." Karen barely glanced at it. "Our map says otherwise. Sue us." Her words were ice. She knew I was stretched thin. Probate barely cleared, savings dwindling. The HOA had lawyers and cash from 200 homeowners. I was outgunned. I called my Uncle Jack, a retired Navy lawyer. He laughed when I told him, "They built on your land and billed you? That's the dumbest move I've seen." He connected me with Rachel, a property rights attorney who lived for cases like this. She reviewed the documents and grinned. "Ethan, they screwed up big time." But the HOA doubled down, slapping on a $15,000 late fee, demanding my cattle be gone in 48 hours or face animal control. I was livid. Instead of arguing, I set up trail cameras, catching every truck, every contractor crossing my line. Rachel sent a canvass. They ignored it. So we filed a quiet title lawsuit costing me $700. Nearly all I had left. Things escalated. Karen and a pack of HOA board members showed up with a sheriff waving a seizure notice for non-payment. I handed the sheriff my deeds and surveys. He frowned at Karen. "This ain't clear cut. No seizure today." Her face burned red, but the sheriff held firm. It was my first win, small but sweet. The court hearing came fast. Rachel laid it out. My family owned the ranches since '53, and the HOA had no claim. Karen, dressed like she was running for office, claimed their permits were legit. Rachel fired back, approved on manipulated lines. The judge paused, ordering no HOA action for 30 days. Outside, Karen hissed, "You haven't won." I smirked. "My lawyer reads deeds." The HOA didn't stop. They padlocked my gate with a sign claiming HOA jurisdiction. I cut it off, filming everything. Then a local news crew called. I wasn't big on cameras, but I told my story by the fence line. Flags marking my true boundary. The broadcast lit a fire. Mails poured in from landowners with their own HOA horror stories. One tipped us off. Check the original development permit. Rachel dug it up, and there it was, a shady variance rushed through by an official who quit soon after under investigation. Fraud, plain and simple. Then a bombshell. Greg, a former HOA board member, called at a diner off Highway 59. He slid me a flash drive. Karen used fake maps claiming approvals that never happened. I copied her files. Rachel reviewed them and whispered, "This proves they forged the permits." We sent it to the DA. One quiet morning, I found a rusted hatch in the field, hidden in tall grass. Crowbar in hand, I pried it open, revealing a concrete bunker stacked with crates. HOA operations, confidential, and piles of cash, thousands and unmarked bills. Handwritten notes marked properties, including mine, with red excess. This wasn't just greed, it was a racket. Rachel and the sheriff arrived, stunned. "Ethan, this is racketeering," Rachel said. A task force swooped in, seizing the crates. Arrests followed Karen. Board members, a notary, a developer, even a clerk who buried complaints. The state attorney general called me to testify in Austin for new land protection laws. I told the story straight, and a senator shook my hand. "You might have changed things for every small landowner." Back home, the HLA's illegal structures were torn down, their claims withdrawn. I turned a reclaimed plot into Jack's Field, a free community garden and veterans retreat. Then came a $1.2 million settlement offered to drop charges and lease my land. I told Rachel, "No deal. I want every inch back." Weeks later, the tennis courts and clubhouse were gone. The field quiet again. But a slick developer, Michael Reed from Redwood Real Estate, showed up with a $5.6 million offer to buy the ranch. I saw their logo in the bunker files. "You worked with Karen," I said. He shrugged. "Consultants. We'll do it right this time." I looked at my grandfather's barn, the sunflowers, the flag I'd planted. Not selling ever. He left, warning I'd regret it. I didn't. Redwood's accounts were later frozen. Their partners indicted. Life settled. I started horseback tours, hosted school kids, and watched veterans swap stories under the oak at Jack's Field. The ranch wasn't just land. Anna Maria was a symbol of fighting back. I'd turned their scheme into a legacy stronger than ever. But I want to hear from you. Ever been bullied by an HOA? Share your story. Let's give voice to the fights they tried to silence. The notice hit me like a slap. $250,000 in HOA back fees for a ranch my family had owned since 1953. I laughed, thinking it was a joke, until I saw the notarized stamp and the smug face of the guy in a golf cart who'd shoved it into my mailbox. He wore a tiny badge like he was some kind of federal agent. I crumpled the paper, ready to toss it, when my eyes caught something that stopped me.